Do you want to learn how to make melting effect in Photoshop? Today I will show you how to create two melting text effects with a standard Photoshop tools. My name is Ivan Gromov and I've been working with Photoshop in a professional capacity for 9 years. And I'm also a creative stock offer for Envato market. Before we start, I would like to recommend you Envato Elements. Here you can find a great number of creative effects, textures and everything else you may need for your next design project. Create a new document with 3000 by 2000 pixel size and background content set to black. After that, go to File, Place and put a free dust texture above the background layer and then change its opacity to about 45%. Create a white text using any font you want to use. I used Hyman font, which I found on Envato Elements. Create a duplicate of the layer by hitting Ctrl-J or right-click Duplicate and then go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. Then move the layer down as you can see on the screen. Select both layers while holding Shift and then move it to the center. Select the second text layer and press Ctrl-T to activate a free transform tool and then drag the bottom and top lines of the free transform tool, just like you can see on the screen. Select text layers while holding Shift and then right-click Rasterize Type. And after that, right-click one more time and select Merge. Now we are ready to create our melting font effect. Go to Filter, Liquify or press Shift-Ctrl-X. Then select Forward Warp tool and set the size to about 600 and after that set pressure and density to 100. Let's start dragging our brush around the top side of the text to make it a bit wavy. Now we can drag the bottom side of the text down until it would look like it started to melt. Once you finish, just hit OK. Create two duplicates of the layer with Ctrl-J case combination. Rename those layers to red, green and blue. Double-click on the red layer and make blue and green channels invisible. Leave only green channel visible on green layer and only blue channel visible on blue layer. Move the green layer 25 pixels to the right and the blue layer 50 pixels to the right. Select all the text layers and then right-click, Convert to Smart Object. After that, go to Filter, Noise, Median and set it to 22. This is how it should look now. Now we can add one more element to our melting letters. Go to Liquify Tool and select Twirl Clockwise tool. And use the following settings: size 450, pressure 60, density and rate 100. Start applying some twirls to our text. And this is how our effect will look with the twirl effect applied to it. Create a duplicate of the smart object and then go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur and set the angle to 90 and distance to 700. Now let's move the second smart object about 350 pixels down and then change the blend mode to Color Dodge and set the opacity to 60. Place the plastic wrap texture above all the layers and change the opacity to 25%. Go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Brightness Contrast, and use the following settings: Brightness -37 and Contrast 30. Create another adjustments layer. This time select Hue Saturation and set the hue to -12 and saturation to 69. And finally go to Layer Adjustments one more time and select Curves. After that, use the settings which you can see on the screen now. Here's our liquid melting text effect. Now let's try one more technique of creating melting letters. We need to create 3 rasterized text layers with channels separated to red, green and blue, just as we did before. After that, select the Smudge Tool from the Tools panel and use the following settings: Size 250, Hardness 25, Strength 72. Select the red layer and start dragging your smudge brush around each letter until you get a slight glitch effect. Repeat the same process with other layers. After that, select the red layer and start dragging your brush down the letters to give it a melting look. And finally, just smudge other layers the same way. Group all the layers into one folder and then double-click on this new group and add a color overlay with the following settings: Blend Mode Hard Light, Opacity 25, Color Orange. Right-click on the group and select Convert to Smart Object. After that, create a duplicate of this layer with Ctrl-J shortcut. Add a Gaussian blur filter with radius set to 25. And add a color overlay with the same settings we used before. Change the blend mode of the smart object to linear dodge. Place a plastic texture with the opacity set to 35. Here's our result. Let's make our melting glitch text effect even more interesting with some color adjustment layers. Go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, Curves, and use the settings which you can see on the screen. Change the opacity of the curves layer to 60. Create another curves layer with the settings which you can see on the screen. Change its opacity to 75. Create Hue Saturation Adjustment layer and set the hue to -66 and saturation to 74. And for the last step, group 2 last adjustment layers and change the opacity of the group to 50. Here is our final result. Today you have learned how to create a melting effect in Photoshop using Liquify and Smudge tools. Thank you for watching and don't forget to check our channel for more useful tutorials.